From the Aishin Broadcast Studio, it's the Executive Spotlight.
Welcome to the AutoSuccess Executive Spotlight. I'm your host, Brian Ankney. Today our guest is Zach Buckner from Hörmann Doors. Welcome, Zach.
Hey, Brian. Good to see you.
Yeah, thank you for coming in today.
Absolutely.
I'd like to jump right into doors.
All right, let's do it.
Well, maybe I'd rather jump through,
maybe don't jump
through a door.
Yeah, that's maybe a little better.
Let's talk about, dealerships, whether they're building a new dealership or they are retrofitting an old dealership, or not necessarily old, but not brand new construction. What are the things they need to consider when they're thinking about the doors they're going to use?
So there's a lot of things to consider, and one of the things that we like to tell end users and our dealers and installers as they're looking at a facility is consider the use of the door. Where is the door located is the first question.
Yeah.
And then that will tell you what type of door you really do need. And our job is not to go in and sell you the most expensive door for every opening, but to really ask the questions and get to know at each dealership what the day-to-day is like.
Gotcha. Well, I'm going to ask you to put on your lab coat and stethoscope. I need you to diagnose every door in the dealership.
Okay.
Sounds easy, right?
Yeah.
There's only a few doors.
Sure. Yeah. It's wild how many doors there are on a car dealership and how many different uses.
Yeah. I want to start with the one that probably gets used the most. The service drive.
Absolutely.
Tell me what we need to think about when we're thinking about what type of door we want to put into those doors that open and close all day long.
Absolutely. So you hit the nail on the head. This is the door that gets asked about first when we're talking about retrofitting or new installation of a door. This is the door that gets all the attention at first. And the reason it does is because this is your first impression. We tell people all the time, this is the door that your customer sees first.
Yeah.
So it needs to be aesthetically pleasing, for one. It needs to be reliable, number two. So these doors go up thousands of times in a short period of time. It's cycle after cycle. And our doors are designed to go millions of cycles. That's what we do. So the service drive has the most activity. It has the most opportunity for something to go wrong with the door as well. So if a door is going to get hit, or if somebody maybe is in danger of getting hit by a door coming down when it shouldn't, it would probably be in the service drive where customers are walking around, maybe they shouldn't be, or, there's just a lot of activity there. So safety is huge there. We have to make sure that you have a safe door, and our doors are built in with tons of safety features that prevent an accident before it ever can even start. So safety is a big concern. Energy efficiency. So most dealerships now are heating and cooling those service drive spaces, and we go in dealerships all the time where there's a slow speed door or a very not very energy efficient door. We'll see it immediately and say, you're losing so much money, and we can actually calculate it for the dealership and say, if this door stays open for this long, what's your HVAC bill? And we can calculate the energy loss. So there's a huge ROI when you start looking at the service drive to keep that energy inside when it's very hot or very cold. Your customers are much more comfortable that way. You're saving money. And it's pretty interesting to see how quickly you can get a return on investment with one of our doors in a service drive by how much money you're saving in energy efficiency.
Well, I mean, anybody that's worked in a dealership, and anybody who's actually ever visited one in the winter, knows exactly that when that door is open, you feel it. I mean, you can be 40 feet from that door, because it's not like opening the door to your house.
Right.
I mean, we're talking about a door that a semi truck can drive through in some cases.
Exactly, absolutely. Service drive doors are huge usually, and that means that if you go with a traditional door or maybe not a high performance door, it's taking up a lot of space in your service drive with all the tracks as well. You're probably in a tight spot to where our doors, the tracks are integrated to the side of the door with a column overhead, and they can fit in some pretty compact spaces. It's neat to see, especially in retrofits, how much space dealerships gain in their service drive overhead for now storage or signage or whatever they'd like to do, more lighting. All that space is now opened up because our doors are contained to the face. So.
I never thought about that before, is that when that door goes up, that's all ceiling space that can't have lights.
Exactly, or storage. I mean, lots of dealers store tires or parts, above, or they'd like to if they could, but if you've got track hanging overhead, that's impossible.
let's stay in service for now.
Okay.
Let's talk about the doors that go directly into a bay. You know, a
Mm-hmm.
lot of dealerships have door.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of door do we use there?
So there's a couple doors that dealerships use frequently. Our Speed Guardian door is really the best fit for the service drive. It's a very fast door. It's about 8 feet per second up to. You have tons of customization options. We work with really every major auto brand. It's what we do. We have doors in about any kind of dealership that you can imagine. And we're able to customize those doors for each brand. So we work with lots of brands who have a specific color palette for their building. We can match any color, custom or all. We can tint the windows like they choose to, move panels around, do full vision or full panel doors. There's lots of options that can help brands meet that aesthetic look they're going for.
Mm-hmm.
So the Speed Guardian door can do that. So you'll see Speed Guardian doors on service drives a lot. That first impression, it's a beautiful door. When a customer drives up to that door and they see it in action, they know that your dealership has invested in their facility, and there's a wow factor to it.
Yeah.
The speed and the look. So there's that door. We also utilize our Steel Ranger door, lots and lots in dealerships. So the Steel Ranger door can be used for a bunch of different applications. The service bay doors oftentimes are Steel Rangers because it's an insulated door as well. Retrofits especially, you'll see. We go into a dealership, they have an old traditional style thin rolling steel door, or maybe they have an insulated rolling steel door, and that door is breaking all the time. We hear horror stories about maintenance expense and how often they're replacing the moving parts in that door. The beauty of our doors is there are no moving parts. Our doors are designed to go millions of cycles and be efficient. So that Steel Ranger door is a great answer. Again, you could do any color you'd like, custom or all colors. You can change around how much vision, how many windows you want in the door. You can do vented slats if you want to, depending on where the door is on your facility. So the Speed Guardian, the Steel Ranger are great answers. But the neat thing about Hörmann is not only do we offer these high-speed door products that are utilized so perfectly in an automotive facility of any sort, but we also offer sectional doors. So kind of your standard, your normal commercial garage doors. So you can do full view doors that match perfectly to the aesthetic of our high performance line.
Oh.
Our doors can be customized and match perfectly no matter what you choose. So on those areas of the facility we'll get into later, the sectional door may be a better answer, just depending on how often the door is open or shut. But that service drive application, typically there's a lot of use on the door, so you want a high performance door that can go lots and lots of cycles.
Now, I mean, so for the service drive is the one that's up and down, up and down, up and down.
Mm-hmm.
There's also the ones that lead directly to the, right up to a lift or into the detail department. Can you talk about those types of doors a little bit?
Sure. So you want those doors, again, safety is a concern, right? You want to be able to stop accidents before they start. One of the most common things we see is a dealership will buy a door, but they won't outfit it with the proper safety equipment, and somebody's going to run into the door almost constantly. Then obviously that's very expensive. So not only do we sell the door, we sell the system surrounding the door. There's a lot of safety features that we have. Our LED light advance that is a visual cue for when it's safe to come in and out the door. So in a door leading to a lift, you're backing up a lot. There's lots of activity, lots of movement. You want to be able to see when it's safe to go through that door. Mm-hmm. The other piece of equipment that we utilize all the time is our wide scan device. So it's a very advanced system that detects motion and presence if there's something in a zone. And so it's basically a widespread, think of a radar that's widespread versus what you see, that small light curtain you'd see on a normal garage door. Mm-hmm. This thing is scanning an area. And there's so many neat features to that make it really make sense for that service bay or leading up to a lift, that maintenance area of a dealership. The really neat thing too about what we do is, we mentioned aesthetics earlier. So those high-speed doors that the customer first sees at the service drive, and then you pass on through the dealership, you're in the service bay areas. Some of the service bays on dealerships, everyone's different. They may have 8 bay doors, and they really only use the first 4. The other 4 are maybe not utilized as much. Well, we're not going to sell you the most expensive door that you can buy for all bays. We have low speed options. So we have high speed doors. We have low speed options for both of the doors I just mentioned, the Speed Guardian and the Steel Ranger. So if you're not really opening that door frequently, you don't need a high speed door there. You can put a low speed door that looks identical. So the doors from the outside, you can't tell any difference. The customer sees this nice, clean, aesthetic look. And if we were to ask any of the dealerships we work with, their primary concern with these doors, it's always aesthetics. That's the number one thing that we talk about.
How they look, yeah.
Exactly. And because you have to make that first impression for your customers. It matters what your doors look like. If you buy a really cheap door, it says something about your dealership to the customer, even subconsciously. So whether you're buying that high speed, high performance door or the low speed, low performance door, the aesthetic is still there.
Presented from the Aishin Broadcast Studio at Babcock's Media.
Now, I mean, you had mentioned some of the slower doors. I mean, I imagine like doors for storage areas.
Exactly.
Probably that.
Yep.
This one's a little bit of a curveball. You know, a lot of dealerships now have these beautiful delivery areas.
Right.
So when you take delivery of your car, it's inside and it's beautiful.
Yeah.
And what kind of door do you put there?
So we have a few options for that. Again, the Speed Guardian is a great answer for that. There's a wow factor to that door. There's a door that we've just released that would make a lot of sense if you really want to wow your customers. We have a door called the Turbo Lux, and this is the fastest door in the world. It goes up 12 feet per second.
Wow.
Yeah, it's incredible. So that door would be a neat fit. You know, usually that delivery area is somewhere that it is heated and cooled already, so you're not necessarily worried about loss of energy or something because you're already in the interior of the facility. So the Turbo Lux makes a lot of sense right there. Again, the Speed Guardian would be a great fit. One of our full view sectional doors would also be a great fit. We've got lots of different options, but if you want a wow factor, I'd put a Turbo Lux in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I've seen a video of that.
Yeah.
And you're not even like really watching a video. It's like
it doesn't look real.
Yeah.
It genuinely, everybody thinks that we sped up this video, but that's the actual speed of the door. And one of the most fun doors we've ever taken to a trade show, for sure. I'll tell you that. It's neat to see people walk by, the door shoots up, and they visually are just in awe.
Wow.
So it's pretty fun.
Yeah, I was gonna say you probably have a lot of people dropping their sodas.
Yeah, we have. We've had some of that. Yeah, and some choice language maybe as they walk by.
I could definitely see that.
It's pretty fascinating.
Let's talk. Or I'd like to shift gears and talk about longevity.
Okay.
Like you mentioned that they're made to have go up and down millions of times, but like what does that kind of equate to? Like, let's talk about it in years. Like, how long should a door last at a dealership?
So, I mean, we have doors on dealerships that have been there for, over a decade at this point. It's not unusual for our doors to last that long. They're built that well. And when you invest, that's the thing with a high-performance door. High-performance doors are expensive. They are. That's the bottom line. Yeah. But you're buying a door one time that you'd probably replace a cheaper door 4 to 5 times in that same lifespan. It's that drastic of a difference. You're investing in your facility one time. Our doors, when we say millions of cycles, we literally mean our doors are designed for millions of cycles. We have a warranty that we stand behind. It's very solid. It's probably the best in the industry, and we do that because we have confidence that door can go up and down over and over, year after year.
Zach, you mentioned earlier that there's an advantage, to having the faster door in HVAC savings.
Yeah.
I mean, instead of a door that's crawling up and down, if you're zip, I mean, it not only is it a lot better for the customer and the people that work there and everything else, but you're going to save a lot of money.
Absolutely.
On HVAC, right?
Absolutely, and we actually have an ROI calculator that our team can utilize with dealerships when they go in to diagnose the opening. They can gather the data from the dealership and say, tell us what you spend in HVAC, tell us how many doors you have, what's the size of the opening, and we can literally calculate what your ROI will be based on your specific dealership. But we have some neat footage that really shows the visual difference between what dealers probably got installed if they're doing a retrofit now, and then they see our door, our high-performance door. We have some side-by-sides where we have a Speed Guardian, and it will go up and back down before the old door even gets up in the first place.
Oh, wow.
So And you know, that's the thing is if we could advise every dealership that was being constructed, you know, 10, 20 years ago, please go with a high performance door. Now they wish they would have. You know, they're dealing with all the maintenance issues they had from getting a cheap door. They have all that energy loss now that they'll never see that money back. And then when they install our doors, they go, gosh, I wish we would have done this years ago.
Yeah.
It's just such a value that when you see it in action, it really clicks.
You know, it's funny. I don't want to name any names, but the dealership where I take my wife's car for service, like they'll leave the door open.
Yeah,
it's just open, and then when you go in, you pull in, and then you have to get out and walk in the door, and all the service riders are behind. They're like in another room because it's they just gave up on keeping the service drive warm.
And we see that all the time too. And we're able to look at it and immediately go, oh gosh, you could be closing these doors and opening them every time very quickly and saving all this money, making a more comfortable facility for your customers, giving them a wow factor. I mean, they pull up to a dealership with a high performance door on it. They know they're dealing with a dealership that really cares about the quality of experience they give the customer.
Well, Zach, is there anything more you'd like to share with our audience today before we go?
Sure. I think, you know, one thing about us and what we do, you'd mentioned, Brian, a couple of other openings in the facility that oftentimes you don't look at for high performance doors.
Yeah.
So the detail bay, oftentimes on dealership, there's usually a car wash. You know, a lot of dealerships are putting their own car wash bays there in the dealership. Storage bays that, you know, doors don't get utilized as much. We have doors that literally are an answer for any opening in an auto retail facility. From the high performance doors as you walk in the service drive to the high performance doors that are on your service bay doors. We have sectional doors as well, kind of your standard, your traditional commercial doors that you can put on those detail bay areas. The doors that do stay open all day, that you open in the morning when the crew gets there and you shut when they leave, those are perfect doors for sectional doors. And again, we can match our commercial sectional doors to our high performance door line, any custom color you want. We have great insulation options with high R value on those sectional doors. But you can get a door from Hörmann for any opening. And that's really fun, honestly. When you go to a dealership and our team goes out, you know, we have one of the things that's important to note is at Hörmann, we have 2 full-time dedicated staff members that all they do is work on retail automotive facilities. All they do is advise and help guide our dealers and installers all throughout the nation. They work directly with retail auto ownership, and they really get to the bottom of what does your dealership need? What do you really need? And they start asking questions. I mean, we have such a fortunate situation where we have Joe Jones and John Hatters, these guys with just years and years, decades of experience. They really are the best in the industry, and I think that because they're my teammates, but seeing them in action is incredible because they ask the right questions to a dealership.
Yeah.
They're not just trying to sell you the most expensive door. They're trying to figure out the best solution for what your dealership has. But we have an answer for every single opening, and those guys can really help diagnose that. And it's neat to see them look at a blueprint or walk around a building and go, oh, have you considered this? Or have you thought about this? You could really save some money here. Pretty neat.
Awesome. Well, hey, thank you for coming in today.
Absolutely. Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's great to see you.
Appreciate it very much.
Thank you for taking the time to join us for this AutoSuccess Executive Spotlight. I'm your host, Brian Ankney. Today our guest has been Zach Buckner from Hörmann Doors. We hope to see you again on a future episode. This one's Over the Curb and Burning Gas.